Good morning, everybody. It is 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning, and thanks for joining us here from 9 to 11 every morning. I'm Jane Monreal. You're watching Live Impact News on... Well, that was strange.
Don't know why that happened.
We had some musical...
Our little switcher just went a little
colors. Color bars.
This is why you join us.
Yes. You never know. This is the reality, ultimate reality, as we like to say.
Yes.
All right. So as I was saying, you are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, and it is just after 9 o'clock. A beautiful morning. We are getting to the weekend.
Yay.
Yay. Exactly. Yay. So let's start with the good. I hope it's good. Felt pretty good, Chris.
Yay.
It is good. I'm
right.
not going to mislead you. No,
Cool.
it's gonna be an amazing day. We have some thicker clouds out and about right now, but it's all in all great. And I want to show you a couple of shots up in the mountains that are getting ready for their snow season. By the way, Sugar Mountain officially opened up on Tuesday, seeing some active skiers and snowboarders there. Now, the problem is we're going to see temperatures that are quite on the warmer side, so it's not going to be ideal for really snowmaking. That'll pick back up heading into next week, but definitely going to be above average. There was a lot more active skiers, I would say, probably about 10 minutes ago. This is pretty dormant. And then top of Beach Mountain, not a lot of activity for the time being. But yeah, no, we are getting closer and closer to busier slopes, but we're actually well above the norm. 50 degrees current temperature right now, 48 around the Lincolnton area, and it's amazing, 57 degrees. That's where you're at right now, Hickory. That's incredible. You've been stuck in the 50s mainly because of that cloud cover, and that cloud cover realistically is going to stick around for the next couple of hours. It's not really a huge deal whatsoever, but here's what it looks like here on our satellite imagery, seeing some of those thicker whites, but notice how they're starting to spread out a little bit more. It's at that point that we're starting to see that cloud cover that's starting to erode ever so slightly. And then it's going to be out of our hair before you know it. So let's roll our future cast. Truly, I don't have as much to talk about, which is really good news for you. If there's not,
No, it's not.
yeah, that's great news.
We love having you.
Well, I appreciate it, but no, this seriously, no news is good news as far as the weather goes. You have some thicker clouds that are right around the I-40 corridor, and then it starts to slowly erode. It's going to stick around the mountains overall, and then by later on this evening, we cleared the slate, and I think that we're going to have a perfectly clear sky for pretty much the abundance of your Friday. So another wall-to-wall sunshine scenario. We see a few more clouds that start to sneak back in for your Saturday. So Saturday overall does look like it's going to be a partly cloudy one, even partly sunny for the mountains. And then heading into your early Sunday morning, that's our next chance for rain. But that's in the Carolinas and for the mountains. We are not going to see rain for the Charlotte area in the near term. As for the mountain forecast, since we're already up there, you have a scattered rain chance for your Sunday. But look at our highs, lower to the mid-60s even on Friday and Saturday. That's substantial before we're back to the lower 50s. And for the weekend around Charlotte, huzzah! One of the last few times I'm going to be showing you this. Yeah, it's let me see. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving. So how close are we to that? I think this is the second to last weekend, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So second to last
Almost
week.
done.
Yeah, I'm finally going this weekend.
Yay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. Great.
And I had mentioned this at the very beginning of the year that somehow whatever weekend we pick, it doesn't matter, it ends up being Time Travelers Weekend. This
And
weekend's
is it?
Time Travelers.
Time Travelers Weekend?
Yeah,
I
every
think it's
single
just
time.
meant to be. You
I-
just call it
Yeah.
in.
Well, I also love Back to the Future and the DeLorean,
Yep.
and that's usually there most years, like with the flux capacitor and everything.
Jane, when you went, was it you
yeah.
went first weekend?
First
right?
weekend, yes,
Was there
beautiful.
any themed weekend that weekend, or was it just Renaissance Fair?
It was just Renaissance
Okay.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, they get themey as the time goes
Yeah,
on.
There's like pirates, and then there's fantasy.
I don't know why they need it because everyone, there's
However, I
there's
did-
so much to take in.
I did go Halloween weekend, and people did show out.
Okay, I
I mean,
can
of course, there was
imagine.
the Renaissance Fair, but yeah, I mean, I
But-
saw the guy with the pumpkin on his head.
Okay.
A real
Oh, yeah, you
pumpkin
told
on
me
his
about
head.
that,
So, like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, like
there
the headless horseman.
essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they do like the Time Travelers just to include more, because if you think
Yeah.
about it, you have people that might dress up more like space age that
I
are going
imagine
back to
you'll see
Renaissance.
plenty
Yeah.
of Star Trek, or you'll see a Spock, a Captain Kirk. I
Oh,
imagine you'll see
okay.
that.
At least one Doc Brown, usually I
Sure.
see him right there. Yeah, so that's just in general. You see some Jamies from Outlander because they do time traveling as
Oh,
well.
sure.
Yep, so.
Now, are you? What can you tell us what you're going to be, or do you want to keep that?
See, no. To be honest with you, I kind of just go as a person.
Okay.
We've
Okay,
been
not
we've,
a-
we've been
an
meaning
alien?
to go all out. It's just that all that stuff, if you really want to get the nice one, is expensive.
It's
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
They are.
Like I have a friend that wanted to get like a true cloak, and it was like $200.
Yeah.
Wow.
But well worth it. He says that it actually keeps you really warm.
I bet.
And like you can do like the whip, the walk away like a fury, like
Oh,
a villain.
yes.
Yeah, so it's totally worth it. But no, I don't have anything. However, I do want to get elf ears, so we might do that this year.
Fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Fun.
So yeah, and there's also this one wooden ride that they literally pull with ropes. Poor person who has to do that job. But I've have a picture with JT and Kim on that since he was a baby, so it's our yearly tradition. And oddly, Kim has worn the same shirt every year, so I said you have to wear that
Gotta
shirt
wear
every
that
year
shirt.
now.
great.
But yeah, no, this is going to be royally great. I can't really look to see what it's going to look like for the last weekend. It's a little bit too far out, but still, we are trending in a really good direction. Mid to the upper 70s for the middle of November is unreal. And as far as that goes in the history books, it's nothing really too historic, but it is closer to the record than actually where we should be in the lower to the mid 60s, 76, 77, right around the record of 82. So what I did earlier this morning was I usually show you the 10-day forecast, but I wanted to do it a little bit differently. So what I did was I adjusted the ranges to show what month it actually feels like. So for example, October averages 78 on the 1st, 68 by the 31st. November averages 68 to 58. So what this does is it really gives you kind of a look of, are we feeling within the range of the month that we're actually in, or is it feeling more like the previous or other months? So for instance, over the next few days, 68 degrees is literally feeling like late October to the early part of November. But then it actually almost feels like early October, Saturday and Sunday. The only really true November day that we have is Monday. But then right after that, right on the cusp for late October, which is crazy. And to put this in perspective, so just recently we went through a big cool down. It felt like January. Look at that. We were feeling like October all the way down to immediate January status because the dead of winter averages 52 and below for the Charlotte area before we got back to November status and then beyond. So I just kind of wanted to show you that, really put into perspective that this is a very unusual forecast. It does not feel like where it should be. So wrapping this up with a bow, only rain chances that I have for the Charlotte area look to be around Tuesday, and then you're going to see next Thursday and to Friday. So next Thursday and Friday, so not today or tomorrow. That's where you could have another chance for rain. But yeah, this is a really nice range, seeing 64 to 77. As of right now, I'm making Sunday my pick of the week. Not only is the warmest day, it has the warmest lows, but also it looks like it will turn out to be a decently sunny afternoon. So do anything outside that you want to do. It's going to be spectacular. It doesn't get much better than this.
All right. Have fun at the Renaissance Festival.
I can't wait. Yeah, I feel like I'm disappointed. I need to get some better Regal guard. Maybe we'll prepare for next year.
A cloak.
Yeah, you have. Then
Start
after this
making
year-
it.
Yeah, you make it.
Oh, see, that's good. Yeah, but I'm not as gifted as you. I've seen what you can
I can
make.
help.
Yeah, you can make. Okay, we
Especially
got.
for a JT, I would love to make JT.
Oh, he would love that too.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, I'm down. All right, we have 1 year. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I got
Consider
plenty of time.
the growth of a little boy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do. Yeah, the kids grow.
Yeah.
That's a
The
factor.
kids-
No, we
do
got
grow.
yes, but if you think about it, a lot of that stuff is kind of oversized, anyways.
True.
Nobody's wearing fitted suits back in Renaissance
No.
times, so yeah, no, we're good.
All right. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a cloak for the family.
The family cloaks.
The family
Cool.
cloak.
Yeah, but
Are you going?
I'll repeat it. No cloak weather this weekend because
Okay.
they
Nice and
always
toast.
have the fact. Because if you've been to the Renaissance Festival, which we all have, when you're in direct sunshine, that's when it really gets hot.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, if you go on Sunday and it's the mid 70s in direct sunshine, you're feeling more like the mid 80s. It's
Yeah.
always 10
Right.
degrees hotter at least, no matter the time of year, sometimes up to 15. So factor that in, especially if you're going full black cloaks and everything.
Oof,
Yeah.
that's true. Are you going, Carlene?
I went for around Halloweeny. So
Oh, you
I
did?
did my time.
Oh,
and it was
okay.
great.
And what did you dress as?
I had my little
You had
corset,
your-
I had my little
Oh, yeah, corset, yeah,
yeah.
same.
I did try to do the thing. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
good.
Flowy skirt.
Okay.
I came normal.
I would
So
expect
when I
nothing
dressed
less.
up-
Yeah, I know. And then meanwhile, disappointment over here, just going as.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll work it out for next year.
Yeah, you're going as the
you're gonna be dressed up
Mulcahy's.
to the nines next year.
Yeah, no, we're doing it. You know what? Mark calendars. I'm excited. I can't wait to share it with you. Which, by the way, I'm sure you've seen it before. Majestic went all out, so I just have to also
she
ask
looks
her as well.
fantastic. Shout out Majestic Storm. All right. Thank you, Chris.
Of
Have
course.
fun this weekend. Although
Thank you.
have one more day this week in the work week. And we have a quick 2-minute break right now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So after 43 days, the government shutdown is now over, but not before making it the longest one in U.S. history. Alice Barr in Washington with the very latest for NBC News here on WCNC Plus.
With a vote in the House
The bill is passed.
and a presidential signature overnight. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is now over.
The federal government will now resume normal operations.
Furloughed federal workers getting back on the job today after 43 days. They and those who worked without pay waiting to hear when their back pay checks will arrive. As airlines work to return to full capacity, the FAA freezing flight reductions at 6% instead of the planned 10% by Friday, with easing staffing shortages set to gradually unsnarl weeks of delays and cancellations.
I think it's horrible how politicians, all of them, use us as pawns.
SNAP federal food assistance will also grind back into gear for the millions of Americans still waiting for their full November payments, turning to food banks instead.
Massive increases in families needing our assistance.
As the consequences unwind, the two parties pointing blame at each other.
Absolutely no question in anybody's mind now that the Democrats were responsible for this.
Donald Trump and Republicans made the decision to shut the government down. Would rather do that than provide health care that's affordable.
As Democrats face their own divisions over the deal moderates in the Senate reached with Republicans that did not include health care reforms, an issue Republicans say they're now ready to address with the government back in business. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Back here in the Live Impact studio on WCNC Plus, so just in time for air traffic to get back underway and hopefully under control by holiday travel week. Also, speaking of the holidays, we need to talk about holiday shopping. One of the big events, of course, is Black Friday. That is November 28th. We want to make it enjoyable for you, not get scammed, not lose your shirt, your money, your personal information, all of that jazz. So we have Juliana O'Rourke live in the studio this morning to talk to us now about a couple of these holiday shopping related scams, Juliana.
Yeah, so look, we're almost to Black Friday, which is kind of crazy that we're already almost to Thanksgiving, Black Friday. But we want people to be aware that, you know, scammers like to come out this time of year, especially people are doing a lot of shopping. There's a ton of people spending a ton of money, whether it's online, in person. And so we want to make sure people know what to look out for on Black Friday when they're shopping. So, you know, first and foremost, kind of make a plan. If you know there's specific things you're looking for, look in advance to see where are sales, what are the sales, check to see if it's a product you've kind of been looking at, look to see what the actual sale is, because you probably know what it originally went for, and now if places are saying, oh, 20% off, 30% off, whatever, just make sure they haven't jacked up the price before they put it on sale, because then it's really not on sale like you might think.
Yeah,
right?
we see that all the time.
Yeah, so you want to do that. You want to read any fine print. So anytime you're purchasing something, whether it's online, in store, what is the return policy? Are you able to return it? Do they give gift receipts? If you're buying things for other people, we know that that can get a little tricky. I know sometimes I buy things for my mom, my sister, they might not like it, and I want to make sure that they're able to either exchange it or return it. So always read the fine print when you're purchasing things as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there is, you know, it's the thought that counts, just keep the present, but.
Exactly, yeah. And another tip too is always check reviews. I know I was just walking in, we were talking, she liked my jacket, and I was like, girl, you know, all the sites I order from, I always look at the reviews, not only just to see like what people say as far as do they like it, but you know, how does it fit? What size did they get? Sometimes you kind of don't know, and you're like, oh, okay, well, if they posted their, you know, measurements and stuff, that helps me to know. But also, if there's problems with the products, or if they're not getting what they thought they were getting, if the sizes are a lot smaller, bigger, you know, if it's not a clothing item, if it's like an actual trinket, or, you know, whatever it might be, the reviews are super helpful.
I'm trying to be better about leaving reviews, because it's something I depend on so much, and I read them.
Yeah, I'm the same. And you know, it's funny because I like constantly look at reviews, and then I do the same thing. I'm like, girl, I gotta leave a review. You gotta be a part of the community to provide the reviews and be helpful, especially if it's something you like, because we also know that like most people leave reviews when they either love something or they hate it. There's usually not much in between, and so you're either going to get one end of the spectrum or the other. But to your point, I know I need to do the same, because if I really love something, I'm like, I need to tell the world.
Right.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
It's something I depend on. I read like reviews, like it's just all the time.
Yeah, it's part of the smart consumerism to do that.
And it's also hard too, because there's so many sites online anymore, especially women's clothing. I mean, you get served so many ads. We talk about this all the time. You get served ads like crazy on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, and you get served these different stores, and you're like, well, that looks like a cute boutique. Is it legit? So you go to the reviews, and then it's like, okay, well, if they're only all 5-star reviews, is that legit?
Yeah, it's fishy.
So it's like you just kind of have to do a ton of research, and that's what I was telling as I walked in. I was like, yeah, you have to have some patience and some time, but it's totally worth reading the reviews, because then when you get the whatever it is that you ordered, you're actually really satisfied.
All right, I need to buy me some time to do all.
I know
to do all this.
The time, right?
But worth the investment.
Yes.
So let's talk about Cyber Monday, because after Black Friday, those scams online can even get trickier.
Exactly. And also when you're shopping on Black Friday, you can also kind of wait to see like, hey, is there a better deal in person in store, or is there a better deal online? And then are those same stores having Cyber Monday sales where maybe the price on Cyber Monday is even better than on Black Friday? You never know. So just be on the lookout, do the research, especially if it's a specific product, if it's a hot toy or something along those lines. You know, we encourage you to sort of do the research across the board, because since Black Friday and Thanksgiving are a little bit later in November than normal, a lot of stores are actually going to start having their sales pre-Thanksgiving because there's not as much time after like there normally is.
Right, that makes sense.
Yes.
All right, so from shopping online or in person, the Secret Santa.
Yeah.
When you just exchange the gift, you pull out the name.
Yes.
I do it all the time with family.
Yes.
And it sounds like it's easy enough, and that will save some time and money because you don't have to get everybody a gift.
Right.
But there apparently is some warnings about this.
Yeah, so Secret Santas with your friends and family and people you actually know, that's great. When you see this stuff start popping up on Facebook, which we see every single year, the Secret Santa gift exchange, put your name and information and maybe a few friends and, send a bottle of wine to one person and you're going to get like 40 or 36 or something crazy like that in return. Those are all essentially pyramid scams. And, yeah, they're pyramid schemes. And you're probably not going to get the products that you think you're going to get. You're not going to send one gift and then turn around and get 30 or 40 of them. All you're essentially doing is giving away your personal information, which we always encourage people not to do. And there's kind of been different twists on this particular scam. So it started with, wine, bourbon. Now it's like a $10 gift maybe for your pet. Whatever it is, I know it sounds fun. I know it sounds enticing. If you really like that, get your friends together to do it. Get your family together. But strangers on the internet are not who you want to do that with, because once they have your financial information, or even just your personal information, that's,
trouble.
One step towards identity theft. Exactly.
Trouble in the mix. So what kind of versions of this Secret Santa that we should be warned about? How do we recognize that?
So honestly, anything you see online that talks about a Secret Santa, if you don't know those people, it's a red flag. Don't participate in it. I know it sounds exciting. They've been around for quite some time. And every year we talk about how they're actually illegal. The USPS looks at it as gambling, basically. And so, they're not legal in the United States. So don't participate them, just ignore them if you see them. And it's a little enticing too, because you see a lot of people commenting, a lot of people sharing, and I don't know if it's just that people don't recognize, they don't know, they're excited, it's the holidays, who doesn't love to get gifts in the mail, but it's not a good way to go.
And I can see the emotional connection if you're a loner or lonely and don't have too many friends, and you see something like be part of the sisterhood or secret Santa for your pets.
Yeah,
that's very inviting and kind of tempting.
Yeah, they had that one spin that's like for the good of the sisterhood, and you're like, what? It's social media. Okay.
We're not sisters.
Yeah, exactly. So, the best thing you can do is basically just ignore it, keep scrolling if you're on social media, but just know that if you provide that information and you do start sending gifts to people, you're more than likely not going to get them back, and now people have your information.
All right. Can you report these scams to anybody?
Yes, please report them to us at the Better Business Bureau. You can go to BBB Scam Tracker. We love to have this information so we can alert people, especially when we're seeing it specifically in our community. And so, let us know what you're seeing, what's happening. Even if you don't get taken advantage of, even if it's just something you're seeing, it helps us come talk to you all and be like, hey, we're seeing this on our Facebooks, we're seeing it on our Instagrams. Beware, it's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
Don't do it. I'll do Secret Santa with you too.
Okay, deal.
Okay.
Deal.
No secret with this sisterhood, right? All right. Julianne O'Rourke, thank you as always, bringing us the tips and what to know. So you're not asking, where's the money? We know how that goes. All right. Happy shopping, everybody. We're going to take a quick break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. As you might now know, the federal government shutdown is officially over. President Trump signing the bill late last night around 10 o'clock. We covered it here on the stream on WCNC Plus as the House was voting on passing a contingency resolution to continue funding the government until the end of January. So I did speak to Mitch Kokiak of the John Locke Foundation on what this means, how we got here, and now moving forward, just kind of breaking down a little bit of the X's and O's here. So this is the interview. It happened before the president signed the bill, but know that the information is all good. I do refer to the president getting ready to sign said bill. So here it is in its entirety from last night on Live Impact News. Longest in modern U.S. history, we have Mitch Kokai from the John Locke Foundation. Mitch, thanks for joining us here on Live Impact News. Appreciate your time tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. Obviously, a very important vote, and everyone who's been watching down very closely is happy to see a final resolution to it, and it will get, of course, the final finality once this vote does wrap up in the next few minutes and the bill ends up heading to President Trump.
Yeah, so I was kind of all over the place there just because so much has happened, right, since the shutdown. And walk us through a little bit then what happened on the floor tonight and what this final vote tells us.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, if you listen to it, and most people really didn't have to listen to it because if you listen to a couple of speakers, one on both the Republican side and one on the Democratic side, you heard the rest of the arguments because as the joke goes, everything has been said, but not everyone has said it. And then they repeated some of the same points. Basically, Republicans are saying it's time to open up the government again. Let's get things back going, pay people who've been furloughed, operate services again, make sure that the flights are going to be running as normal, whereas the Democrats were saying, hey, Republicans, why aren't you allowing us to have the extension of these Obamacare or Affordable Care Act healthcare subsidies? That's something that Americans need, and you aren't dealing with it, and that was the reason why they had withheld votes to have the government remain open in the first place. So after all those arguments were said and done, the bill passed, I think, as everyone expected. Probably maybe a little bit of surprise that there were a handful of Democrats who said yes to the reopening and a handful of Republicans who said no, but there were enough Democratic yes votes to outweigh any Republican no votes, and certainly enough to push the bill over the finish line. Really, the main piece of this debate ended on the Senate side when 8 Democrats decided to, or those who caucus with Democrats decided to break with that caucus and go with the Republicans, because that was really where the stalemate was. If this had been just left to the House, we never would have seen a shutdown. There would have been a very close vote, but because Republicans have the majority and don't need to reach into any sort of supermajority, they would have been able to keep the government open with a very close vote, with Republicans holding a slight majority in the House. But since the Senate has the filibuster and Democrats were able to use that to try to get some leverage to get these Affordable Care Act health subsidies passed, even though they had been taken away in the so-called one big beautiful bill, that was really what was keeping the government closed, was that the Democrats in the Senate figured we can make this demand and Republicans will cave. Republicans did not cave. And so eventually enough Democrats decided, well, this has gone on long enough. Let's get what we can. And what they did get was that there will be an up or down vote, at least on the Senate side, about whether to revive these tax credits. And presumably, if the deal goes forward as it was planned, people will be put on record either saying yes or no to these subsidies moving forward. One would have to guess that the vote will be no, because Republicans do have a majority. in the Senate, but that will put them on record as voting no, and Democrats will certainly try to use that to their advantage when they head to the midterms next year. As for what happens next, of course, the House sends the bill as quickly as it can to President Trump. He will sign it when he has already signaled he's going to sign it, so he will sign it whenever he feels it's most advantageous to do so. The government will then reopen, and then it will be interesting to see what that means in terms of actually getting the government services restarted that had to shut down. It's not as if you flip the light switch and everything comes back on. I could tell you, following federal court cases fairly closely, there's one involving North Carolina where the lawyers from the government who were involved, the federal government who were involved, asked for the case to be put on hold because they were not allowed to take part in the case while the government was shut down. And they asked the federal judge in that case to say, once the federal government reopens, give them 2 weeks and then they'll be able to start again. Now, most government functions that have been shut down will be back much more quickly than that, but you do have to have that ramp up time. People who haven't known when the shutdown was going to end are immediately, as of now, 8:25 at night, automatically going to be back in the office and back at doing their work again. Some may be back on the job tomorrow. Some, though, it might take a little while to ramp things back up. So I'm guessing that it's going to take, especially since this was the longest shutdown we've ever seen, that it may take a little while to get everything back to normal.
Mitch, we talk about the Affordable Care Act, the subsidies that are expiring at the end of the year, and the 20 million potential Americans that could see their insurance premiums increase. The Senate vote, they got the promise of a vote in December, but no guarantee that it passes. Did the Democrats give away too much then this go round?
Well, certainly the critics of this deal on the Democratic side say they did. I mean, they basically were urging their members to stick with this plan and get the Republicans to cave, and that isn't what happened. You've seen ever since the Senate deal came out, lots of calls among the progressives really calling Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the Senate, on the carpet for his inability to keep the Democrats together on this issue. It remains to be seen. But I think probably the best guess is that when voters head to the polls for the next time in a general election, which is about a year from now, this will be sort of in the distance. If anyone remembers it at all, they probably really won't factor this much into their decisions in November. So I don't know that it's going to have a major electoral impact one way or the other. But in terms of trying to get those subsidies passed, certainly it seems much less likely that that's going to happen now than it might have seemed while the government was shut down and it was unclear which side was going to break first. There is the promise, as you mentioned, and we've discussed a little bit, that there will be a vote on the Senate side, but there's no promise that that issue will pass. And Republicans, in allowing the subsidies to expire, have said, look, this was always designed to be temporary. These are incredibly expensive subsidies, and we're putting ourselves trillions of dollars in debt. This is the type of thing we can't allow to continue because it's not sustainable. So much within the federal government is unsustainable. And if something can't continue forever, eventually it's going to end. And they're saying this is something that was always designed to be temporary. It's time for it to end now. The Affordable Care Act was passed years ago, 3 presidential administrations ago, and so now it's time for it to end. Democrats, of course, are going to continue to make the call to do something about this. We heard, if you were listening to the debate, Hakeem Jeffries, the House leader for the Democrats, saying they're going to continue to push on this week, this month, next month, into next year. And he basically said the only way that this is going to end is that the Republicans change their mind, or that voters change their mind for them by knocking them out and putting the Democrats back in. I think most people who are watching the situation closely in terms of what comes up in the midterms are saying that the midterms, regardless of conditions that are going to be top of mind for voters when they head to the polls, would look at this as 2026, that is, as a good year for Democrats. You've got a new Republican administration, and usually when the White House changes hands, the first midterm after that takes place is bad for the party that's in power. So that would mean bad news for the Republicans, good news for the Democrats. If they have economic conditions that cause concerns for the American people, as we seem to see in the elections that just took place, that would also be good news for Democrats. And so it's entirely possible that a very closely split House that's now led by Republicans could flip back to the Democrats. Maybe a little bit less of a chance that the Senate goes back to Democrats, but certainly if they win at least one chamber, that means much less likelihood of Republicans getting much of what they wanted passed in the next 2 years of the Donald Trump administration. And you would probably see much more likelihood that the president would try to do more by executive action than he's already been doing.
Well, the bill goes now to the president's desk, and but this might end too, right? We only have funds until January 30th. So are we going to be the same place in, a few weeks from now?
Well, it's certainly a threat. I mean, that is something that we have seen in the past, and certainly during the two Trump administrations, we've now seen the two longest shutdowns, one of over 30 days and now one of over 40 days. So once it happens once, it's likely that it could happen again. My guess is, though, that as you get closer and closer to an election, both sides are going to look at this and say, is it going to be worth our while? Did we see any sort of uptick or rise in support or decrease in support because of the last shutdown? Is it going to be more likely that people will remember a shutdown that takes place in January as opposed to one that took place in November? All of those political calculations are going to be taking place, but you can be certain that this at least is going to be a threat in the background when we get to the end of January.
And again, with air traffic control being kind of top of mind and the holiday travel rush just around the corner, again, people are concerned about when we're going to get back up to speed. You think this ramp up time is going to be relatively short?
Well, my guess is for the air traffic controller issue, I would think that certainly by the time people are traveling for Thanksgiving, that things would be back to normal. I don't know that it's going to happen within the next couple of days because no one has really known exactly when the shutdown was going to end. We got a sense once the Senate came up with its deal, so perhaps the folks who are in charge of the air traffic controllers have been making plans that, okay, if the House really does finish it on Wednesday and it gets to Donald Trump, when would we be able to get things back up to normal? So let's hope that they have been planning that. But my suspicion is that certainly by the time you see the heaviest planned traffic for the Thanksgiving holiday, that they would be back to normal. But that remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm. And big picture, Mitch, what should Americans brace for now entering 2026?
Well, I'm guessing you're going to see more political brinkmanship and gamesmanship. Of course, that always happens even more in an election year than it does in the off year. So they're going to continue to fight, the Democrats and Republicans, over their priorities. Because there is no 60 votes for either party in the Senate, that means that on that side, the minority party, which in this case is the Democrats, has more leverage and will have opportunity, as long as the filibuster is around, to be able to throw a monkey wrench into the system. We've heard President Trump call for ending the filibuster. I think Republicans, realizing how it has worked to their advantage when Democrats have been in charge, are a little bit reluctant to do that. So as long as that filibuster is in place, you're going to see a very difficult time for any Republican-only legislation to pass, and it becomes even more so, more difficult during an election year. And I think the partisan rhetoric that we're already seeing will certainly ramp up as both sides make their case to the American people.
Mitch Kokai from the John Locke Foundation. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for weighing in, and the insight was great.
Thanks so much.
All right. Well, the funding package bill has passed. It is passed the House. It is now heading to the president's desk, and it is expected that he signs that around 9:45 tonight. We'll bring that to you here on Live Impact News. For now. All right, that was last night. Yes, I worked last night. I'm working this morning.
She's always here.
I'm going to just set up a little room here. Anyway, he did sign it last night around 10:15. We will be right back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. Time right now approaching 9:45. I'm Jane Monreal. And November is National Alzheimer's Awareness Month, a crucial reminder that 7 million Americans over 65 are living with this disease, and that number expected to double in the coming decades. Joining us this morning is Dr. Jared Broch, a neurologist with Indiana University Health. Good morning, doctor. Thanks for joining us here on Live Impact News.
Good morning, Jane. Pleasure to be here.
Doctor, let's talk about the basics and basic understanding of Alzheimer's and the difference between normal aging and the early signs of this disease.
Yeah, a lot of people will walk into a room like myself and not always remember why we walked in there. And some of those things, like remembering your favorite restaurant or things like that, can be completely normal. But the red flags that I look for in a conversation with a patient involves things like forgetting an entire conversation that they had with a loved one, or not being able to recall where they're going directionally. They might repeat the same question and not recall what the answer was. They might have some trouble with consistent word finding in a conversation. Those types of things go beyond the normal aging process, and that's the point where we really want people to reach out to their primary care providers and seek help.
75% of people with Alzheimer's don't have actually a formal diagnosis. Why is that number so high?
Yeah, it's a great question. We haven't always had fantastic ways to make the diagnosis, and in the past there haven't been a lot of actions that we could take But now, as a neurologist who cares for individuals with dementia, in collaboration with Eli Lilly and Company, we are trying to raise awareness for the early detection of Alzheimer's disease. Those plaques that develop in our brains for about 20 years before a person has their first memory symptom are called amyloid plaques. And we can now detect those pretty rapidly, and now we have the opportunity to treat them and remove the plaques.
Wow, so these biomarkers help doctors sort of detect the disease. And then from there, what are the tools that are available?
Yeah, I always encourage people to go to their primary care provider first, and they will provide some cognitive tests. Some of them are on iPads now, some of them are pencil and paper. They may do extra blood tests and brain scans, but having the availability of a blood test that can now, in certain individuals who have a memory problem, can be greater than 90% accurate in detecting those proteins that cause Alzheimer's disease, and that really allows us to take action at that early point.
So once you have that crucial diagnosis, that information, what can we do now that we couldn't do without it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to preserve independence in individuals, and I think that's really the basis for people coming to see me. And I want to protect them from making mistakes with their medicines and falling prey to financial scams. And I want to educate them about lifestyle and how they can slow the progression of their memory loss. But we really do have newer treatments that have been approved within the last couple of years that are really only applicable to people in those earliest stages. So it's so much more important now to get that early diagnosis so that we have other treatment opportunities available.
I mean, and this is not just the person, the patient, it is the family, their network. What shall friends, family, and loved ones be thinking about?
Yeah, I think if you detect some of these things that go beyond the normal aging process, we really want to encourage folks to reach out to their primary care team. You might even actually accompany a parent or a loved one so that you can provide the information that's necessary. Your loved one might not have the insight into what's going on. And then, of course, there are a variety of online resources where one can learn more about this, including the website morethannormalaging.com.
morethannormalaging.com. What are any other message, perhaps maybe of hope, that we can provide families who are worried about maybe an early Alzheimer's disease diagnosis and are not quite there yet? Or even, I mean, really anybody?
Yeah, that's really why I'm here, is we want to try to reduce the stigma associated with Alzheimer's disease. We know that if we can make that diagnosis early, we can empower people to live independently, and that's absolutely my goal. There's fantastic new electronic technology that we can use to help people with all those things we talked about, like medication dispensers and video cameras and so on and so forth, to really empower individuals so that they can have that independent lifestyle they want, check things off their bucket list, and live safely without having to worry.
All right, that's what life is about. Dr. Jared Roche, neurologist with Indiana University Health, thank you for the information and the conversation on this national awareness for Alzheimer's disease. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, my pleasure.
And we'll take a quick break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. See you in 2. At 9:51, we are coming up on 10 o'clock right now. And as we head into the busy holiday season, can you feel it already? It's getting a little stressful out there. Yeah. Are you doing anything about it, Carlene?
I mean, I'm thinking about it. That's as far as I've really gotten so far. Is like we're kind of putting plans in place. I'll probably be driving.
Oh, you're
for
driving?
My holidays. I'll probably be heading back to Charleston for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So thankfully I want to fly. Well, it's not too far, but still, it's still something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it too.
Are you traveling?
I believe so.
Okay. We're on the same page. Like, I think we got it.
So I think the plans are they're just plans right now.
Yes.
They haven't been solidified.
Correct.
And that's kind of the part of the challenge these times. And it's going to be here before we know it.
Oh, I know.
But the busy holiday travel season is upon us now. And that's going to really, you just want to take care of your health. You want to do the things to protect yourselves. Those planes, I just flew over the weekend, and it was tough, not only because of the delays, but because it's a crowded plane and people are getting sick. So our Julie Kay actually spoke to an expert as we want to warn you about the respiratory illnesses that you might be susceptible to, and some advice on what you can do about it. This is on WCNC Plus, previously recorded with our Julie Kay.
We're
on the road. But any kind of travel, we got to pay attention to people getting sick. 100%. This is the time of year that people are going to be, you need to be a little extra cautious. Of course, everyone's excited to see their families, excited to travel if you're doing that, whether on the road or in the air. However, we want to pay extra attention to all sorts of sicknesses that you can pick up as you're traveling. And that's why we are starting today with a health expert. This is Dr. Ruth Carrico. Dr. Carrico, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much.
Well, let's start with, as I kind of set us up with all this travel that we got coming up in the next couple of weeks, what are the illnesses people need to watch out for this time around?
You were perfectly right that it doesn't matter whether you're in a plane or in a car or just meeting together in a room. There are a number of respiratory viruses that challenge us every year. This year's no different. We have three, I think, that really come to mind, and that is flu or influenza, RSV or respiratory syncytial virus, and of course COVID-19. All of those are diseases of breathing. So just as you mentioned, we all get together, regardless of where that is. All of us are breathing, and without some plan for protection, then we run the risk of either transmitting illnesses or breathing them in, acquiring them from others.
I'm glad you brought up the illnesses that we're paying attention to, especially I want to point out, just while I have you, COVID-19 still a problem. Although the pandemic lockdown is over, COVID-19 is still something we deal with, right?
It certainly is. It's one of those respiratory viruses, and I'm really happy to have the chance today with Sanofi Pasteur has enabled me to partner with them and bring health information to you, to your audience, so we can get a picture of what it means to protect ourselves as a unique individual.
Yeah, and so what are some of the things that people can do to make sure they don't contract or protect themselves as much as possible from contracting one of those illnesses?
You're right. Nothing's a guarantee, but I think a good place to start is let's remember what Mom told us. And Mom said, make sure that you don't go anywhere when you feel badly. Stay home. Don't share that love with others. Make sure your hands are clean. If you have to cough or sneeze, do so either in a tissue or in your elbow. Those are kind of our basic things. Well, what about some more advanced interventions that we can do? And I think a good starting place is talk with your healthcare provider. I love it when I have a chance to talk with patients about what is going on with them as unique individuals, and then develop a plan of action that looks at their underlying health conditions, their activities, what's going on in their lives, and is personal to them.
Especially because anyone with maybe a pre-existing condition may be at more risk, but I'm curious if there's anything or anyone in particular that might need to be paying more attention. I know you mentioned RSV. Typically when we talk about that, we do talk about kids.
Yes, you're right. And so let's start at that end of the spectrum. When we have newborns, they're born without a really robust immune system, so they rely on us to help take care of them. So we can do things such as provide them with an antibody against RSV. Well, what about older adults? The other end, maybe those visiting grandmas and grandpas. Well, let's protect them. Influenza, we have vaccines focused on the older adult, that higher dose flu vaccine. COVID-19, the mRNA and non-mRNA vaccines, and then, of course, RSV. And then what about everybody else with underlying medical conditions? Let's remember those: asthma, heart disease, diabetes, and others. We have vaccines that are meant for our community, our people at large. So get with your healthcare provider. Recognize everybody's different, so your healthcare provider knows you best. Talk with them, get their advice, and remember, it's never too late. So every time you visit a healthcare provider, think about that as a vaccinating opportunity, a chance to develop your plan of action.
I like that you phrased it as, kind of what your mom said. Sometimes the simplest advice is the best. Wash your hands, make sure you're not coughing on other people. Is any, though, of these illnesses that you mentioned, I know they're all spread in similar ways, but are any of them, kind of piquing your interest or concern this season as something that's becoming a little bit more common?
Well, I think, remember, COVID-19 has not gone away, so don't dismiss it. It is still creating problems. Flu is with us every year, and remember, last year it was a particularly bad flu season. So it just reminded us, we need to respect these respiratory viruses. And RSV may be kind of a new term, a new vaccine. So again, talk with your healthcare provider. Find out what is the right thing for you and your underlying health condition. And then develop your plan of action and then figure out the best way for you to move forward.
Dr. Carrico, anything that we haven't talked about that you think people need to know or that would be really important for people to hear?
Well, I think it's remembering that all of us want the same thing. We want to have a great holiday season. We want to be able to spend time with friends and family, loved ones. Let's have a plan so that we can do that safely and give us the opportunity to celebrate what we have ahead of us in these next coming months.
Celebrate really is the word. Hopefully people can take that advice and go travel and see their families safely. Dr. Carrico, thank you so much for that information.
Thank you.
Good reminders there from Julie Kay's interview yesterday on respiratory illnesses. We are going to stay with, I don't know if it's related because I feel out of breath just thinking about the Charlotte Marathon.
I know. I think about it every year because I'm kind of a runner. I'm like, one day I'll do it.
That's right.
And I still haven't signed up.
Okay.
I
still on the bucket list.
It's one of those things. I'll get to it.
Yeah. But you know what? You know who is running it?
Nick Sturdivant. Our boy.
He is. He's representing WCNC.
I'm so proud of him too because he told me way long ago. He's like, I think I'm going to sign up, and then
and
I've
he's
seen
committed.
Him go through the
training.
Won't he? Then he did it. The training. Like
he's committed.
We're so proud.
So proud.
I know he's listening, and
Shout
he'll
out
probably pop up
Sturdivant.
back here. Like we say his name 3 times, and he comes back here. So
you have the full title of the marathon.
Novant Health Charlotte Marathon.
All right. So Nick.
Commonly known as the Charlotte Marathon.
The Charlotte Marathon. I'm going to call it the Charlotte Marathon.
Sure.
He's doing the half.
He's doing the half.
So that's still amazing.
Yeah.
And he interviewed organizers about it.
Sure did.
Yesterday. So if you missed that, there's a good one for you on WCNC Plus.
All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We have a special guest. Honestly, I've been excited about this guest for a while now because we're talking about a big event happening in Charlotte all throughout the city. We're talking about the Novant Health Charlotte Marathon. It is a big deal, and it's not just a big deal for runners, but you think about the money that's being raised for the Novant Health Hemby Children's Hospital. Over the years, $500,000 going towards that remarkable cause to help the kids here in the Carolinas. And here in studio, we have DC, but DC's not being interviewed. But we have race director Tim Rose.
He'll do his best to get in here somehow.
How do you get this guy in check? This guy is something else. Yeah. Thank you for stopping in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. What is I guess my first question is, what is it like? We're a few days away from race day. What I know you're busy. I don't have to say that, but what is the planning like so far right now?
Well, it's kind of like a wedding day, I guess. I mean, it's such a buildup of planning and getting things in order and double checking and triple checking your deliveries and your supplies and everything else, and then it just goes by so fast. I mean, we're up at 4 o'clock out, call time's 4 o'clock and 3 o'clock for some people, and we're probably not done till 5 in the afternoon, but that 12-hour it flies by, and it's exhilarating, and it's fun. And then you get home and you're like, I'm exhausted. What do I do? Like, I don't have anything to do now. So you kind of feel a little empty-handed. But there's kind of the normal nerves and everything. You just think about, like, you want everything to go well at the expo. You want everybody to get checked in without waiting in line. You want everybody to get the right t-shirt size. You want to make sure everybody has a good time running. You don't run out of fluids on the course. You don't run out of anything at the finish line, hats, medals, whatever people are looking for at the finish line, food, beverage.
No wonder why you're exhausted. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And then there's the Novant Health side of things, the event medicine. They're out there with probably a staff of 30 to 35 people for anything from a skinned knee to potential something worse, where you might have to transport. But there's all sorts of things that you don't think about, that runners don't think about, that happen behind the scenes for sure.
Oh man, how long have you been involved with Charlotte Marathon?
So we started it in 2005. So this is our 21st year. The asterisk being the gap year in 2020. Something called COVID. That was a virtual event, but 21 years.
Oh man, what's your favorite part about from start to finish? And I'm not talking about race day, but from planning the year's event to the very end. What's your favorite part about it?
The first thing is just seeing people finish, and it's that culmination of their training and preparation for race day, because they've put as much work into it as we have in a different way. So it's seeing people cross the finish line, and whether they qualify for a Boston, set a PR, or just finish for the first time, it's an achievement to be celebrated for them. Probably the close second is just the people I work with. It's truly a team effort, and I really, I'm blessed to be able to work with people like DC and our, director Elena Williams, Lindsay McGee, who heads up our social media stuff, and the ambassadors, Betsy Zarzar, who heads up our Team Hemby initiative. We just topped $100,000 this year, by the way, for Hemby Children's Hospital, and there's more coming on the backside of that. So we might hit $150,000 this year. Who knows?
That is so awesome.
But that's a testament to the running community too, right? They're the ones that are doing that.
Man, I kind of got roped into the running community. It started from I've been running about a year and a half now, and it started was like, I could do a 5K. The former athlete, I'm like, I could do 3 miles. And it humbled me really quickly. And I just kind of kept it going, and now I'm at the point I'm like, I'm about to run my first marathon. Like, this is, and I'm saying first, like, I'm like, I'm going to do this again at some point. I say all this to say some of the stories, because you hear so many stories, personal stories of why people run. What are some of the stories that stick out for you?
I mean, there's all sorts of stories. People running in honor of other people, in memory of people, people that have passed away. DC wrote a fantastic article on what was the name of the club? Tracy's Tribe. Just an awesome story. Sad story, but a happy story too in many ways. And but there are so many people that have a reason to run. So many different ways that people are motivated to run, whether it's in honor and memory of somebody, just to check something off the list, to get in shape, to lose some weight. There's just so many different stories out there, and we put a call out for people to send us their stories. You'd be surprised at how many people respond to something like that.
Oh man, yeah. I think for me, I started running because I'm like, it's a challenge. I could do 3 miles, and then you have a lot of time to think. Some of those long runs, you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I getting up so early, or why am I doing this after work? And I really thought, I'm like, man, I'm running for my father, who passed away from a heart attack. My grandfather, who had heart failure. My uncle, who also had heart issues as well. So I'm running for them because I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain.
I would bet somewhere in there you're running for you too.
I'm running for myself.
To have a healthy heart. That's part of the physical fitness and the benefits of running too. But we all have different motivations, and I think it's fantastic.
Oh man, what keeps you doing this every year? Because I know, look, I know it's a fun time, and I know they're great people, but that's a lot of work.
It's the babes. I mean,
that's a good point.
Kidding.
That's a good point.
I've been married 37 years. I better not let my wife hear that. No, it's the people.
Yeah.
Like I just think it's the people that the running community of Charlotte since COVID has responded so well to this, and it's not just the Novant Health Charlotte Marathon, it's the other events around the town that have taken hold, and it now it's kind of one of those FOMO things, like people they sign up because they want to be a part of it because everybody else is, and there are so many running clubs in Charlotte. I think 80 something different running clubs. You can find one in your neighborhood almost any night of the week. 150 some people moving to Charlotte every day. I mean, it just, it's snowballing. It's exciting to see that. It's exciting to see all the growth. But I tell you, the thing that keeps you going is the people. And we in a way represent the Charlotte running community in this small slice of the calendar throughout the year. So, motivation to do a good job for that.
It's a small slice of the calendar, but it's a big. I mean, Charlotte running community is huge. Can you talk about the camaraderie? It's like family.
It is. I mean, I think it's changed over the last 5 years or so. I used to think it was kind of more tribal than it should be. I mean, you run for this club, but not that one. You shop at this store, but not that one. And, you kind of protect your territory. And I think now it's become much more interchangeable. People are like, I go to that one that way, and I get in that store, and I shop over here when I'm. And I think that's good for the running community because it's kind of become this big one running community, and you can find the same people in different locations. So I think that's pretty cool.
I feel like running never goes out of style, right? Like it's something that is.
No.
But I say that because I don't know how active you are on social media, but and maybe it's just my algorithm, but I feel like there's just a lot of folks that are just new runners. Like I guess I consider myself a new runner because I've been doing it for a year and a half. When you see the sort of where we are right now in the running space, what are your thoughts when it comes to that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There are a lot of new, younger runners coming in, and it seemed like almost for a while that wasn't the case. You kind of saw the same people aging out of these running events, and therefore, the participation was tailing off a little bit.
Yeah.
But now it just seems like there's this new running boom that's taken hold, and it's that 25 to 30-year-old to 35-year-old who's out there participating now. I mean, places like the greenways. I mean, Mecklenburg County Park and Rec does a phenomenal job with the greenways and providing us great places to run. The rail trail. I mean, go out on the rail trail south end. You will see a ton of people out running. I mean, it's just a thing to do.
Why is that? Why do folks? I feel like I'm in that age range, but why are folks? Why are we having like a running boom right now? Have you been able to put your finger on that?
No, I don't know. specifically why. I think, running's always been a sport that is fairly easy to get into.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of barriers. You don't have to buy a set of clubs. You don't have to pay green fees, things like that. I'm not picking on golf or tennis, but you get a good pair of running shoes and a couple running outfits or whatever, and you can go out and do it. And you can find so much information online now about how do I train for a 5K, how do I start running. Like there's so much information out there, and there's, like I said, there's 80 some clubs. So if you go to a club and say, I've never run before, somebody there is going to take you under their wing and help you get through that first run.
Yeah, shout out Black Men Run. I run with them. I usually do the Friday morning runs over there off of Mallard Creek by the Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
They took me under their wing, and they really kind of, because I was trying to PR every training session.
Yeah, you get those, like, I went out and by the time I was done, I was dead.
I'm like, how do they do that? But they gave me a lot of good tips.
Black Men Run, by the way, their national, their convention is next year in Charlotte. The Charlotte Marathon is the host for that next year. So we're excited to host the national Black Men Run chapters to Charlotte next year.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
CJ and Lamar have been very active and involved in planning that.
CJ is a beast.
He is. He's one of my favorites.
As a first-time runner or first-time participant of the half marathon, what should I expect? I've heard so many different stories about the course, about even down to parking, where to park, how to, the expo. What do you tell folks? I'm sure you get the same questions, right?
Yeah. So a couple questions there. The course is Charlotte. I mean, if you live in Wilmington, it's really hilly, and if you live in Asheville, it's pretty flat. So I mean, people coming from out of town, it's it's relative. But if you train and run in Charlotte, I mean, you shouldn't have any surprises. But it's the best of Charlotte. It starts uptown, goes through Eastover, Myers Park, Dilworth, South End, back uptown, and then out to Nodon Plaza Midwood, where they have the best neighborhood parties that you could imagine. But yeah, so I think the course is great. In terms of how to manage Friday Expo, Saturday race, leave early. Whatever you're doing, like go to the Expo early. And you might wait in line for a little bit. I mean, we're at capacity this year, so we have the S word sellout. We have sold out. Half the full and the 5K are all at capacity.
That's awesome.
So we don't have any more registrations. So we have built this thing and to manage 11,500 people, and but there might be some lines. So don't think it's like a quick in and a quick out. I encourage people to take light rail as much as possible. If you can get to a light rail station and come in and get right off at the convention center right there, it'll save you a parking hassle. If you can park on surface lots, it beats waiting in line on in a parking garage, or if you can get a metered spot if you're lucky enough. But there's going to be a lot of traffic uptown getting to the expo, so definitely plan ahead for that. And then race day morning. We say race starts at 7:20 if you're in the half or the full, 7:35 if you're in the 5K. You want to be uptown parking at 6 o'clock. So, because look, we're going to wait in the line at the Porta-John, aren't we?
Yeah,
and
you're
we're
right.
going to check our bag, and we're going to have to walk, and we're going to, and then we're going to have to get in line. It's just like, save yourself the stress of, am I going to get there on time, or am I going to be that guy that starts 5 minutes late?
Yeah.
Because I've been there and I've done that.
But I'm motivated to get there at 5:30.
Yeah, well, we tell everybody to get there at 6 and watch everybody get there at 6, and it'll be it's gonna be a mess. But just plan ahead. This is no, and I say this with as much humility as possible. But this is not a small town marathon anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 11,500 people coming uptown, plus friends and family and fans and everybody else that wants to see what's going on. It's kind of a big deal now, which is good.
It is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for Charlotte. Our economic impact numbers keep going up, and this year we have all 50 states, D.C., Puerto Rico, and 19 countries.
Wow.
19 countries. So Canada, Mexico are the easy ones. There's a couple of Caribbean, some from Central America. I think Guatemala and Honduras. There's someone coming in from Brazil and Colombia, a couple people, and then there's a couple European countries that are represented.
Wow.
So people are finding out about Charlotte. Word's getting out.
And it's not a small town race anymore.
It is not. No.
Oh man, Tim, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the expo. I'm looking forward to the actual race on Saturday morning.
And this is your first half marathon.
First half marathon.
Right. I think you're going to do well. Here's my best advice to you.
Okay.
Go out the first 3 miles and don't run hard.
Okay.
Run slower than you think you ought to be running.
Okay.
Because you're actually running faster than you think you are.
Okay. Because of the adrenaline?
Because of the adrenaline,
yeah.
Now, and just be patient. Like, it's going to be crowded, so like you're going to want to dodge in and out to kind of pass people who are running too. We got in your corral with people who are running similar paces. So just make sure you just keep it slow the first. Like, if you have something left, you can make it up on the last 10 miles. You'll be good.
Okay.
And we do have pace teams to help you out too. So there are a lot of pace teams. So if you're wanting to run let's say a 2-hour half marathon, tuck in with the 2-hour half, 4-hour marathon pace group. There'll be several of those because that's kind of the tip of the bell curve.
I told myself I was not going to give myself like a goal as far as time, but in the back of my mind I have a time.
But you did.
I have a time.
You did.
It happens.
We all do. That's okay.
Tim, thank you for stopping in.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger. Welcome. You're always welcome to the neighborhood here on Live Impact News. So many people are out there, and again, as Tim mentioned, this is not a small town race event. This is a big deal for Charlotte. A lot of folks out there. Tim, thank you for your time again.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
And we're going to run for 2 minutes. Take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. Time right now, 10:20. The federal government shutdown officially over after the House passed it, supporting a continuing resolution to fund the federal government until the end of January, with 6 Democrats voting in support of this stopgap fund. Speaker Johnson obviously happy with the results. He spoke last night after the vote. If you missed it, here it is for you on WCNC Plus.
Well, good evening, everybody. We feel very relieved tonight. The Democrat shutdown is finally over, thanks to House and Senate Republicans who stood together to get the job done. Absolutely no question in anybody's mind now that the Democrats were responsible for this. What happened? Millions of American families went without food on their table. You had millions of Americans stranded in airports with their flights canceled and delayed. You had troops and federal employees wondering where their next paycheck would come from. The Democrats openly admitted, many of them said it in their own words, that they used the American people as leverage in this political game. They knew that it would cause that pain to the people, and they did it anyway. They did it for their own selfish purposes, their political purposes, and it was a game they played with real people's lives. It's something that is very difficult to forgive. I want to say that all this was utterly pointless and foolish. This outcome was totally foreseeable. I said that this would be the outcome when all this began back in mid-September. They did it anyway. Democrats admitted that they used the people as leverage, and they got nothing for their selfish political stunt here. They didn't achieve anything with this at all. And anyone who studied history would know that shutdowns never yield any positive result. It just hurts people. I said on the House floor a little while ago that we did all this in good faith. From the very beginning, I was insistent about this. Our leadership team was. The Republicans did the right thing. We had a nonpartisan continuing resolution. We didn't have any Republican priorities on it at all. We just said, in good faith, let's keep the lights on. Let's keep this going for another 7 weeks so that the Congress can do its work, so they can get back to the regular appropriations process, the way that it is supposed to be done for the people, so that we're good stewards with their money. That hasn't been done here in a long time. And we said we want to get back to that. Now, I'm pleased that tonight on the CR we had 3 appropriations bills that we'll send over to the President's desk in just a short amount of time tonight to get signed into law. That's an innovation too. As you all know, it's been years since Congress actually did separate appropriations bills. I'm proud of that achievement, but I'm really sad that it took us so long to get here. It was so much pain that had to be endured to get to this point. Voters are going to remember which political party played games with their lives. They're going to remember that they did this for their own selfish purposes so that they could look tough to the radical elements of their base, and real people suffered because of that game. So now that we've got the lights back on, we've got the government reopened, the President will sign that triumphantly tonight, and Republicans will get right back to the work that we promised the American people that we will do. We're going to deliver for the American people, as we have been doing. And I'll leave you with this thought. There's a split screen in America right now. There's a split screen. On one side of the screen, you have President Trump and the Republican majorities in the Congress and the Senate and the House doing the work for the American people. Look what we've achieved in the first 10 months of this year. You can make an argument that it's the most productive season for a new Congress and a new presidency, a new administration, at least in the modern era, maybe of all time. Just in this short amount of months, we got the border secured. We fulfilled that promise. We are working on the crime crisis around the country. We have new trade agreements. We have a return to American energy dominance. We have cut taxes, the largest tax cut in U.S. history in a literal sense. We're cutting regulations. We're ending fraud, waste, and abuse out of government. We're shoring up the safety net programs like Medicaid so that it's there for the people that desperately need it, and it is not being abused by illegal aliens and by young able-bodied men who are not eligible to receive that. We are doing all this good work. The President, meanwhile, is using his authority to change the world, literally. He has ended 8 wars around the globe. All of this is happening on the Republican side and so much more. That's on one side of the screen, and on the other is the Democrat Party. And what have they done? What do they have to show for the last 10 months of government here? They shut the government down. They voted 15 times to close the government and exact that pain on everyone. We can never forget that. They haven't achieved anything beyond that except pushing ICE officers around and really spurring on political violence. So I want to say that there's a reason the Democrats are in disarray right now. There's a reason they don't have an identified leader of their party. There's a reason that their favorability, even amongst those in their own party, is at lowest of all time. They don't have a platform, a principle they can defend. They don't have a leader, except for Mondami, who's the new mayor of New York City and leading the party into Marxism and socialism. I think everybody should consider that split screen. I think you should look at it truthfully and honestly and objectively. And I think you can evaluate for yourself which party's working for the people. We're anxious to get that done, to work on health care and affordability and all the issues, to continue doing what we've done, and we look forward to rolling that out for you in the next several days. A few questions, yes?
You said earlier that you would repeal that FBI provision that's in the bill right now. Do you have assurances from Leader Thune that he will bring it up in the Senate?
I did call Leader Thune this morning. I want to say that he's a principled leader. I've enjoyed working with him. We've got a great working relationship and a good friendship. He's a trustworthy, honest broker, and that's why I was so surprised when we found out about that provision. It was put in our clean CR at the last moment. I'm just be honest, I'm very transparent with you all. I was very angry about it. I was. And a lot of my members called me and said, did you know about it? We had no idea. That was dropped in at the last minute, and I did not appreciate that, nor did most of the House members. Many of them are very angry about that. So we will be bringing that up. We'll probably pass it on suspension early next week, and we'll send it over to the Senate. I had a conversation with Leader Thune early this morning about it. I think he regretted the way it was done, and we had an honest conversation about that. I didn't ask him for any commitment at that time because I had a lot on my plate today, and I've been busy ever since that conversation we had early this morning. But I'm going to speak as truthfully to him as I am to all of you and tell you that I think that was way out of line. I don't think that was a smart thing to do. I don't think it was the right thing to do, and the House is going to reverse it. We're going to repeal that, and I'm going to expect our colleagues in the Senate to do the same thing.
Mr. Speaker, you say that you're for full transparency, so why not just urge all your Republicans to vote for this massive Connell bill on the Epstein files next week? Put out all the files. Let the American public judge for themselves what these files are all about.
Thank you for asking the question. We have been for maximum transparency of the Epstein files from the very beginning. What I was opposed to is the reckless disregard that was used in drafting the discharge petition. And we've been over this many times, but it was not drafted in such a way that it would adequately protect innocent victims. We have a responsibility to do that. There's as many as 1,000 women, by some estimates, of people who have been victimized because of the sex trafficking and Epstein and all these horrendous, heinous crimes, and we can't have them subjected to any further harm. So we wanted to make sure that they were properly, whose names were properly redacted out of the files. But the discharge petition is not only reckless, it is also a totally moot point. The Oversight Committee has been working, as you all know, around the clock, working on this. And you have some of the toughest members of Congress on the Republican and Democrat side who are working in bipartisan fashion to go through and release those files. As we stand here tonight, I think we're up to over 50,000 pages of records that are out in the open. You can go online tonight if you're at home and go through it yourself. And the Epstein estate files thus far has been the biggest tranche of important information. We found that outside of the scope of the discharge petition because it was never even anticipated or included in the discharge. The Oversight Committee, well, let me finish. The Oversight Committee has been digging into that, and some of the most valuable information was in the estate files. It includes Jeffrey Epstein's own personal logs, his travel logs, his financial ledgers, his daily calendar. All this is now out in the public, and more is to come. Chairman Comer of the Oversight Committee has done an extraordinary job. You have, again, some of the most notable members in Congress working on that around the clock, and they will continue to have full disclosure. I want to say this tonight, and I think this is a shame to a lot of the Hill Press Corps. I'm not going to name any of you by name, but I haven't seen many stories written yet about the fact that we put the discharge up for unanimous consent on the floor tonight. The Republicans, the Speaker, and the Republicans asked for unanimous consent to just go ahead and pass the discharge because I think it's a moot point. The Democrats objected to the unanimous consent. Nobody's written a story about that. That's stunning to me. How can you miss that? If it was about transparency, if it was about full disclosure, there's two questions you should ask every Democrat in the House and Senate. Why didn't you bring this up during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all these records the entire time? Nobody ever said a word about it. They didn't care. Now it's the biggest thing in the world. Didn't matter at all when Joe Biden had the files. And secondly, if they're for transparency, and they really want all this to be out, and there's such this urgency, then why did they vote down the unanimous consent to pass the discharge petition tonight? I can't answer that question, but they should, and every one of you should ask them about it. Yes?
Thank you. There are several members of your own conference that support at least a one-year extension of ACA subsidies. Others have alternative plans. Now that you're beyond this and as January 30th deadline looms, are you willing to put any one of those measures potentially on the floor?
I've been asked 100 times whether I'll commit to putting any.
And that was last night's press conference with Speaker Johnson after the vote taken to pass a funding bill opening the federal government. Taking you out live right now to Uptown, where CMPD is holding a live press conference. This is on holiday shopping safety. Let's listen in here on Live Impact News.
Whether you use a key or key fob or an app, this simple step is a critical line of defense in protecting your vehicle. With that, most vehicle break-ins are crimes of opportunity. What that means is thieves will often walk through residential neighborhoods, apartment complexes, and shopping centers, pulling on door handles. And when they find them, they see it as a crime of opportunity and an open invitation to go inside your vehicle and take your valuables. Even when you lock your car, take all your valuables with you, especially electronics, wallets, purses, packages, and firearms. Car break-ins is one of the top means the criminals gain access to firearms and they get out on our streets. Do not leave packages in your vehicle. We urge residents to take purchases somewhere safe before shopping at another location. That's the official answer. As a police officer, what I would tell you, as a husband that understands that my wife is not going to go back home and not go back every time we go shopping, I also recommend putting them in your trunk prior to going to another location. So if you're shopping at one store and you plan on going to another one, put the items in your trunk before getting to your second destination. That way you don't arrive there and advertise you have all these goods while people are driving by, while they're going through the intersection, while they're sitting in the parking lot. Criminals will target vehicles with visible shopping bags and assume they contain valuable items. Each year we see a rise in car break-ins because of that. And it's not just shopping bags. On top of that, it's purses, wallets, computer bags, book bags. If you have them in there, even if they have nothing in them at all, take them out. A reasonable person walking by the car would think that something's in there. If you see a book bag or a computer bag, you're going to think that's got items in it, that's got a computer in it. So please take that out. It's not just in-store shoppers that need to be vigilant and stay alert. Those shopping online face risk as well. Online shopping is a part of our daily lives, now more so than others. I have Mount Everest of Amazon boxes in my living room, so I can attest to that. But so are the risks associated with digital scams, fake retailers, identity theft, and package theft. For those shopping online, shop only on trusted, secure websites and look for the HTTPS in the address bar, as well as avoid unfamiliar sellers. It's important to be cautious of third-party resellers. If the deal seems too good to be true, it likely is. And you could be falling into the trap of purchasing stolen goods or being set up for some other type of crime. Avoid clicking on links from unsolicited emails, text, and social media ads. Sounds easy to do, but it's also easy with today's technology and AI to fall into that trap. Scammers may offer exclusive deals or urgent updates, but they're designed to trick you into clicking malicious links and gain access to your phone or your accounts. Another thing I like to note, especially when I'm talking to my communities in Providence, if you have elderly neighbors, friends, or family, keep an eye on them. These scams are getting more elaborate. They're more believable. I mean, I think we've all probably received the toll lane text saying you owe a toll. My son's 12 years old. He doesn't drive a car. He has a phone, but he's received that he says he owes a toll lane fine. No, he doesn't. He better not. Make sure to protect your information and monitor your bank and credit card statements. And that's something we should be doing pretty much year-round, month by month. But more so during the holiday season, because you're going to be going to a lot of shopping centers. You're going to be using that credit card and debit card a lot more, most likely. And you're going to be shopping online a lot more. Consider having your packages delivered to a workplace or a secure location as alternatives, and track your packages. There's a number of ways to do that. Most businesses do offer tracking. But if you want to go another step, you can also do informed delivery through United States Postal Service. You can also have these packages delivered to a friend's house or a family member's house. Just make sure they're aware that it might be showing up. If you meet someone to buy or sell items, always choose a public location and consider using one of our designated safe exchange zones that's established through our partnership with Quick Trip. With Quick Trip, it's a gas station. They have cameras. cops go to gas stations. We like coffee, we like donuts. We do zone check them quite a bit. They got great energy drinks. That's a good option, and we do monitor them. If you do not want to go to a gas station or you feel uncomfortable there's always the option to go to one of our 13, I believe soon to be 14 team offices. We have public parking at all of them, and it's also a good location to make an exchange or go from there. But if you do show up to one of those and they ghost you, it's probably a pretty good sign. It might have been a bad deal to begin with. As the holiday season ramps up, CMPD will be out in full force with increased patrols and resources focused on high-traffic shopping areas to ensure everyone's safety. Whether you're shopping in-store, online, or meeting up for a sale, we will be there. Well, hopefully not online. If you're in your living room, that'd be awkward. But if you're out going to a store, you're meeting at a gas station, or you're meeting at one of our services, you'll see us. In addition, our Organized Retail Crime Task Force, which we call our ORC, will continue their work in ensuring business retailers and shoppers are not taken advantage of during the holiday season. The ORC, or Organized Retail Crime Task Force, works closely with Homeland Security Investigations and the SBI to conduct undercover operations to stop these habitual criminals who look to take advantage of everyone during the holiday season. CMPD is ramping up these pop-up operations, and it's at the request of businesses. To those considering retail theft, know that CMPD is actively monitoring and patrolling. Our presence may not always be visible, but we are there, and we're committed to holding the offenders accountable. With that, we understand many commercial retail thefts involve repeat offenders who have already been banned from these locations and continue to come back. To deter that behavior, we will pursue enhanced charges such as felony breaking and entering. And that's against the individuals who return to commit these additional crimes. What that means is if these subjects are banned from a location, which they normally are, and they come back and commit a larceny of any type, it turns into a felony. It's felony breaking and entering. We work locally and regionally in identifying, monitoring, and tracking these subjects as they move county to county and commit these crimes. What that means is if somebody commits a crime at Bed Bath & Beyond in Concord, a lot of times they're working with other businesses and other retailers and notifying them, hey, this repeat offender is coming to our store, they're committing a larceny. And that allows us to get information and intel on what they're driving, who they're with. We can check to see if they have warrants. And it helps us catch these offenders. And even if they are able to get away, then we can come back and apply the appropriate charges for them. In closing, the holiday season should be a time of joy, not regret, a time for celebration, not victimization. We don't need another Grinch story. This is not Whoville. It's Charlotte, North Carolina. A few simple precautions like staying alert, securing your purchases, and trusting your instincts can go a long way in keeping you, your valuables, and your family safe. Our officers are on patrol. Our business partners are engaged. And our message remains clear. If you see something suspicious, say something. Don't hesitate to call 911 or approach one of our officers on patrol, as we're here to help you out. But I know, and I see it in my community meetings a lot, people freak out with those numbers. 911, it's the biggest 3 numbers ever. But please, please do not hesitate. If it doesn't seem right, it's your instinct that often helps us catch these criminals. Together, we can make this season safer and more enjoyable for everyone. We'll take any questions that you all may have now. Yes, sir.
Are there any type of shopping locations where you recommend people be especially vigilant, like parking lots or anything like that?
Yeah, the parking lots is a good one. You're thinking you're coming out of the store, you have your goods, and normally it's more of the car break-ins we see or the larcenies inside the store, but I tell everybody, be vigilant pretty much any shopping center you're at. Things can happen anywhere, but you're coming out with the goods, going to your car. It's always good to kind of keep your head on a swivel. Technology these days, I can't tell you how many times I'll be sitting at even at a traffic light or walking through a parking lot, you see somebody zoned in on their phone and they're in another world. Criminals know that, and they'll target that. So just a little, that's what it means, just a little vigilance can go a long way. But yeah, everywhere pretty much, just keep your head up.
Will y'all be having extra patrols at some of the more popular spots, the malls and such?
Yes, sir. Some of the retailers do secondary employment, so they also hire officers, but we do more patrols. I know like in South Park, we set up the Sky Tower. We do more operations. I think we already got some coming up there. There's some going on in other parts of the city. We've been notified. So yeah, we're well aware. Myself as a coordinator and my partners, even though it's a little chilly, we're going to come out on bikes and ride through South Park and just show that extra presence. So yes, sir, we do.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank y'all.
And that was live from CMPD headquarters in Uptown Charlotte. Tips on staying safe this holiday season when it comes to shopping. Do we have another speaker there? Let's just check in here. We continue to wrap things up. It seems like they're done. Okay, so we are going to take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Before that press conference from CMPD happened, we were replaying the full press conference with House Speaker Mike Johnson after last night's vote officially ending the shutdown. We've got about several more minutes on it. Let's go ahead and continue that for you now on WCNC Plus.
Outside of the scope of the discharge petition, because it was never even anticipated or included in the discharge. The Oversight Committee, well, let me finish. The Oversight Committee has been digging into that, and some of the most valuable information was in the estate files. It includes Jeffrey Epstein's own personal logs, his travel logs, his financial ledgers, his daily calendar. All this is now out in the public, and more is to come. Chairman Comer of the Oversight Committee has done an extraordinary job. You have, again, some of the most notable members in Congress working on that around the clock, and they will continue to have full disclosure. I want to say this tonight, and I think this is a shame to a lot of the Hill Press Corps. I'm not going to name any of you by name, but I haven't seen many stories written yet about the fact that we put the discharge up for unanimous consent on the floor tonight. The Republicans, the Speaker, and the Republicans asked for unanimous consent to just go ahead and pass the discharge because I think it's a moot point. The Democrats objected to the unanimous consent. Nobody's written a story about that. That's stunning to me. How can you miss that? If it was about transparency, if it was about full disclosure, there's two questions you should ask every Democrat in the House and Senate. Why didn't you bring this up during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all these records the entire time? Nobody ever said a word about it. They didn't care. Now it's the biggest thing in the world. Didn't matter at all when Joe Biden had the files. And secondly, if they're for transparency, and they really want all this to be out, and there's such this urgency, then why did they vote down the unanimous consent to pass the discharge petition tonight? I can't answer that question, but they should, and every one of you should ask them about it. Yes?
Thank you. There are several members of your own conference that support at least a one-year extension of ACA subsidies. Others have alternative plans. Now that you're beyond this and as January 30th deadline looms, are you willing to put any one of those measures potentially on the floor.
I've been asked 100 times whether I'll commit to putting any ACA extension on the floor. What I have said from the very beginning, and we were consistent about this, and you all know from day one, the first order of business was to get the government open and working for the people again. It's the most basic responsibility, and we finally got that done tonight. And I said, as soon as the government was open, we would turn our attention to health care and all the other issues that are out there. We are willing to work and have always been willing to work in good faith with anybody in this building who wants to bring down the cost of health care. The Unaffordable Care Act, the ACA, did exactly the opposite of what they promised it. When the Democrats passed their health care law back in 2010, you all remember, the average American would have their premiums reduced by $2,500. They swore to you, and that was not true. And I think the people that drew it up knew it was not true in the very beginning. It was a lie. The people that were the architects of Obamacare, of the ACA, wanted single payer. They designed a system that they knew, they had to know, because they're really intelligent folks, was going to implode on itself. They knew that it was not sustainable. And what has happened since that time, and we're going to be going through this in great detail next week, get ready. We're going to take you through a timeline of who destroyed American health care. And I'll give you a hint. It didn't have anything to do with the Republican Party. It was the Democrats. They're the ones that gave you the Unaffordable Care Act. They're the ones that have been trying to subsidize it and prop it up and add to it ever since. We're the ones that have been trying to fix it. The Republican Party has. What has happened since the Democrats wrecked American health care is that your premiums have gone up by some cases 60%, in some cases more, and it's going to go up further. So their solution is right now they want to subsidize it further. They want to subsidize insurance companies. They want the COVID era extension that was created by the Democrats themselves. They created the subsidy. They are the ones that put the expiration date of December 31 of 2025 on that. They knew it wasn't going to be permanent because it was a boondoggle. And now they're trying to claim it's Republicans' fault? The Democrats created it. The Democrats broke it. The Democrats are driving your cost up. Who are you going to trust to fix health care? It's the Republican Party. Because we have volumes of ideas on how to do this, on how to fix it, on how to drive costs down, and how to increase access to care and quality of care, and you're going to see all that vigorous debate. So the answer to your question is, am I going to guarantee a vote on ACA unreformed COVID-era subsidies that is just a boondoggle to insurance companies and robs the taxpayer? We got a lot of work to do on that. The Republicans would demand a lot of reforms before anything like that was ever possible, and we have to go through that deliberative process. We have currently 433 members of the House of Representatives. There's a lot of opinions in this building, and on our side, certainly a lot of opinions on how to fix health care and make it more affordable. I have to allow that process to play out. I'll leave you with this. The biggest objection that I had to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, who are playing political games with people's lives when they shut the government down, was Chuck Schumer came out and said the quiet part out loud. I don't even think he realized he has no self-awareness, but he came and cried to all of you that I would not agree to go into a back room and make a four corners agreement on these issues. That just he and I and Hakeem Jeffries and Leader Thune would go in a room and make this decision for the entire population of America and block out all of our colleagues as if they had no voice in it. That is why Washington is broken. That's why Congress hasn't worked well for people. That's why they don't have a lot of faith in what goes on here. And I'm committed to trying to restore that faith. And one way we do that is we get back to regular order and we allow all the duly elected members of this body to have their voices heard. I'm not playing games, and Chuck Schumer, I'm not going in a back room with you and making a four corners deal on anything. And I hope you understand that. Thank y'all. We got the government open. Let's celebrate tonight.
Who supported the package tonight, sir?
They did the right thing. We congratulate them.
And again, that was House Speaker Mike Johnson from last night's press conference immediately following the vote in the House that went ahead and ended the government shutdown. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Again, the government shutdown officially over after the president signed a bill that was passed last night in the House. So as things get back to normal, we want to play the president's remarks before his bill signing if you missed this last night, because it did happen kind of late, just after 10 p.m. last night. So we'll play this for you now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
This is a big day tonight. Very important what is taking place, because we see how good government can be and how bad government can be. People don't know what they're doing. For the past 43 days, Democrats in Congress shut down the government of the United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally, from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort, the Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons. I want to thank Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, as well as House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Majority Whip Tom Emmer, and numerous other great Republican leaders and congressmen and senators who are here and who frankly spent a long time in Washington getting this thing to go away. I also want to thank the broad coalition of Americans that stood with us in this fight to reopen government, including the Teamsters, the American Federation of Government Employees, the Fraternal Order of Police, AMVETS, the National Small Business Association, the American Farm Bureau, the American Trucking Association. These are all incredible patriots. The Airlines for America, the Allied Pilots Association, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and many, many others, unions and non-unions. Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster so that this can never happen again. If we had the filibuster terminated, this would never happen again. And don't forget, we have another date coming up in the not too distant future. We can never let this happen again, and we should be able to pass great, really great legislation. So I say terminate the filibuster, because, by the way, the Democrats will do it immediately if they ever assumed office, which hopefully they won't. Today we had the highest stock market price ever in all of the different markets. We set a record. It's the 48th time in the 9 months that I've been in office that we had this record set. So think of that, 48 times we had a record set, but today is the highest of them all. We're going to break new grounds. Nobody would have thought. I have with us
not only the great political leaders, but the great business leaders of our country. They're standing right behind me and right really alongside of me. And if we would have told them a year ago that we'd be having stock prices this high, none of them, in fact, I just asked them that question, none of them would have believed it. And that inures to jobs and, very importantly, to 401ks, which have also set a record today, a record high for the people that have 401ks. And also, I want to thank Walmart because they came up with a fantastic study. It was the cost of Thanksgiving coming up and the cost of Thanksgiving from a year ago under Sleepy Joe Biden. And we're 25% lower this year than we were a year ago. And it's a very inclusive report. So I want to thank Walmart. They've done it for many years, but we believe in that, and we believe in that company. I want to also thank the 8 Senate Democrats who finally did the right thing in voting to end this craziness, this madness. But unfortunately, the vast majority of congressional Democrats were happy for millions of Americans to suffer. They really did suffer, too. And the Democrats admitted, they said, well, no, we finally have a point. Even though people have to suffer, we finally have a point, and that didn't work out too well for them. But they really went out and they could appease the fringe benefits of their far-left base, but that didn't work out because now their far-left base is angrier than ever before. We actually elected a mayor of New York City who happens to be a communist. When was that going to happen? Remember, I said all the time during my campaign, we will never be a socialist country, and that's right. We turned out to have a communist in New York City, and if you look at his views, those are the views of a communist, not a socialist. So this is no way to run a country. I hope we can all agree that the government should never be shut down again, end the filibuster, terminate the filibuster. It'll never happen again. So with my signature, the federal government will now resume normal operations, and my administration and our partners in Congress will continue our work to lower the cost of living, restore public safety, grow our economy, and make America affordable again for all Americans. Again, costs are way down. Energy is way down. Gasoline is at $2.50 a gallon versus $4.70 for the Democrats. And we think we're going to hit pretty close to $2 a gallon. That's like a really massive tax cut. It's the equivalent of that. And speaking of tax cuts, our great, big, beautiful bill is giving everybody in our economy, middle income workers, low income, everybody, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And it's no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and very importantly, no tax on overtime.
And you can see the president's remarks and his bill signing